Joel Schumacher. Also, film. Did you ever want to know how much of an ego Arnold Schwarzenegger has? His name appears before the guy who plays Batman. Bat nipples and bat ass. Batman logo makes a record 3 appearances in less than 90 seconds. DC Comics. I sure am glad that Batman finally decided to take everyone's advice and put a disco in the hood of the Batmobile.
This is why Superman works alone.
Really? What was all that Justice League shit then? Why would you waste money on bat-shaped embellishments that no one will ever see? I don't care who you are, you can't do that kind of blasting and massive construction a tunnel this long would require without permits and plenty of people knowing about it. One of these dudes was facing another way when Mr. Freeze iced him, but I have a feeling there were continuity errors in real life on the set of this film.
The Iceman cometh!
What? These guys keep hitting Mr. Freeze in the back where he's got all sorts of padding. And they have guns, too. But I guess those are for really dangerous criminals? They had no idea this was an ice mission until Commissioner Gordon told them on the way here, but sure, skates. Also, feet click activation. Do any of these guys have pockets on their outfits? Is there a rule about not using your hands to carry the gem?
What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age!
Well, I was gonna go with a meteor, but then I saw Pacific Rim and they said it was kaiju. Honestly, I'm inclined to believe anything at this point. Since when does turning things to ice instantly make them crumble? Movie turns to the laws of physics and says a hearty f*** you. Even if you can steer straight rockets, I don't think you would steer them like this. I'm down with an ice gun, I really am, but how could it possibly work in a solid beam like this but still create fine shapes like handcuffs? Shouldn't Batman also have a string of ice across his chest or face? Also, seriously? All that and his goal was to put Batman in ice restraints? We saw this much ice freezing the entire Gotham Police Department a minute ago. It's amazing Batman didn't have heating gloves to melt this ice, but I guess they had to make Robin not totally worthless somehow.
We have to blow up this rocket before it turns Gotham into a crater.
Why would a rocket the size of a car falling to Earth from 30,000 feet cause Gotham to become a crater? It's not a bomb. It's just a rocket. I mean, yeah, a few people's houses would be smashed, but the city on the whole has nothing to fear. Just a question, do you even need the door panels underneath your feet if you're just going to defy the laws of gravity anyway? This was a dated reference back in 1997. So Freeze's escape plan was to turn his car into a rocket, launch out of the museum through the tiny skylight, climb to 30,000 feet, and then exit the rocket, leaving it to crash and demolish all of Gotham, while Freeze gently glides back to the same museum in the heart of Gotham.
I'll kill you next time!
Why do villains change their mind about killing heroes right after a failed attempt to kill them? This wall is what should have been around Batman after Mr. Freeze shot his entire load of ice at him when he was in the penis shuttle. Wow, this laser can heat an entire pool of freezing water. Seems like this could have been used against Mr. Freeze in the previous battle somehow. Dr. Woodrue just leaves Bane standing here expecting him to stay and not kill anyone.
Gotham University lab security video 2 years ago.
What university keeps their science lab security video for 2 years? How did Clooney ever see straight with his head bobbing like this? The guy looks like he's in a constant audition for Night at the Roxbury. You remember this random fall when you were a kid that doesn't even look like it hurt that much?
Coming, Bane, darling.
You just became Poison Ivy like just now. How do you have an implicit partnership with Bane already? Even if your free suit can be powered by diamonds, it's not gonna just accept them being dropped into a coin slot. Do you have any idea how lasers actually work? I'm beginning to think this movie didn't have a scientific advisor.
Uncle Alfred!
How in the world did you manage to come here all the way from England?
I want to know how you managed to lose your British accent.
Secrets are a virtual prerequisite in this house.
A secret niece who lives in England is not that great of a secret. There's no reason for keeping this secret. Also, is it normal for students to continue wearing their school uniform while on break? Especially when getting on a plane from England to the United States?
I have the same picture of Mom by my bed.
Why would your mom have signed a picture she gave to you as Peg? Why would your mom even bother autographing a photo she gave you? Wayne Manor has to have like 100 doors on the ground floor. Does she really need to risk her life climbing out a second-story window with a rope made of sheets?
Gotham Observatory, Bane. And step on it.
How the hell does Bane know where that place is? Even if he wasn't a Neanderthal brain, has he ever been there before? They put a badass telescope in the middle of a giant city with bright lights? That seems counterproductive.
Satellites already in orbit allow us to reflect light from any given point around the planet.
Unlikely.
Miss, you need to stop.
4 guards can't keep Poison Ivy, who isn't using her powers or anything, from walking towards Bruce. They just let her come up here, give verbal warnings, and follow her instead of, taking her arms and escorting her out.
Cape Crusaders are going to help us auction off a prize diamond to raise money for Gotham Botanical Gardens.
I know we need to set up for the audience that Batman and Robin have a Wayne-related diamond event coming up, but why would Bruce invite the obviously batshit lady who just threatened everyone in the room with plant-based world domination?
Batman and Robin. Militant arm of the warm-blooded oppressors.
If Ivy didn't talk to herself so much, we'd never know what her plans are. Did Victor Freeze have somebody film his entire marriage, even when in closed quarters? How does he keep freezing people and then taking the thing they were holding without breaking off hands and arms constantly?
I'll get 10,000 for the orchid. 20,000 for the tiger lily. And I get $30,000 for the lovely magnolia.
Why are these guys outbidding each other for different women? They could have all paid just 10 grand and each got the woman they were after. Scene does not contain a oh, fuck it. Even if the pixie dust had an effect on Batman, he's at least smart enough to notice that she's blowing shit in his face for the second time in 5 minutes, right? Is that not an immediate alarm bell? Poison Ivy is out of focus in this shot, and it doesn't feel on purpose. Also, she's clearly standing with her back completely to him in this shot and her head turned away, and then when the shot changes mid-sentence, she's obviously standing sideways.
$7 million.
Why does the card have a sound effect? It's a f***ing credit card. Are we suddenly in a kung fu movie? Also, Bat credit card. Freeze ridiculously ices down 2 whole people for no reason other than to show he has an ice cannon on his car. Robin had no idea what to do with this thing, but there was a random henchman he could make slip and fall, so picking it up was totally worthwhile.
Pheromone dust. Designed to heat a man's blood.
And don't forget the ladies. Are Batman and Robin still preoccupied with these henchmen? There can't be that many, right?
Commissioner, you have 11 minutes to thaw these people.
Sure, I'll just put them in my thawing machine I carry around with me. Geez, this Gotham has to be a nightmare to get around in. No wonder there's so much crime in Gotham, with a government that spends all that money on f***ing statues. Just because you ice a giant statue does not make it easier to run a car through it. I'm pretty sure it's made of metal. Is there some sort of gravity-defying aspect of these cars that I should know about?
Redbird control codes. Disable engine.
Yeah, probably best to disable Robin's bike while he's speeding down a giant statue arm, rather than let him try and make the jump. That seems a lot safer. This refrigerator is not plugged into anything. I guess it's visually appealing to drag Freeze into his cell like Hannibal Lecter in a fridge, but if it doesn't keep him cold, what's the point?
Batface and Birdbrain turned out to be much more resistant to my love dust than expected.
Well, no. Mr. Freeze showed up and kind of broke everybody from their spell. Life or death will do that. Robin still wanted to bang you after all that fighting, though. You didn't fail, Poison Ivy. You just got unlucky.
You just called me Ivy.
I watched this scene several times, and no, he didn't. This article underneath the Crime Watch Fear, Disbelief, and Tension headline is about a state sales tax. So wait, there's a garage motion sensor activated, but no other alarms go off in the house? What if you're not at the computer when someone breaks in? Do you not get warned?
Anchor, how much coin to play?
2.5.
Oh, come on. Coolio should have been Mr. Freeze's partner. Or right-hand man or something. I mean, this movie is so filled with puns, why not that one? Come to think of it, where's the requisite cameos from Ice Cube, Ice-T, Vanilla Ice, and all those other ices that were in fear of a black hat? How do any of these racers know where they're going? At least with Barbara, they said she'd never run this race before. We know Robin hasn't, but everyone knows exactly where all the turns are in the secret hidden race course.
So this is where you hang out.
But the details of how Dick was somehow able to save them both while hanging by 1 foot from a metal rod are completely unnecessary.
I've already won all the money I need to do what I've always dreamed.
Alfred has supported me my whole life, and I'm gonna pay him back.
You already had the money you needed and you still went out and raced and possibly died without giving him any money beforehand?
Hey, Icehead, you got a visitor. Your sister is here to see you.
Arkham Asylum lets anyone in who claims to be a sister, and if she's using the pheromone powder, then why bother with the sister lie at all? This guard on the right watches her blow mind control shit in the other guard's face and just patiently waits his turn instead of thinking maybe something fishy is about to go down. It's ridiculous for the criminal possessions locker to have a window, and it's just so Bane can break in and so we can have these Riddler and Two-Face references. What kind of cell opens from the inside and prevents guards from opening it from the outside? Has anyone at this prison notified Batman yet about the escape attempt in progress? Or did they just run and grab a torch? How does freezing pipes create this big of a hole in the wall to escape? In fact, how does it create any hole for that matter?
We got this off the Arkham surveillance camera.
Oh, no, you didn't.
Gotham Airport. These two arrived by charter.
And people's photographs are always taken when they walk off a plane. We all know this grate leading into the basement or whatever doesn't really exist in this room. It's completely fabricated for this scene. And even if it did exist, check out the floor. It's covered in icy mist. No one is watching anyone through this grating. And even if someone could, don't you think Batman would have noticed it? Okay, so you might not be able to breathe, but I highly doubt you know if your lungs are freezing or not. But thanks for the update on your condition as it happens. Why would Freeze's lair even have a setting for heat? Hell, the guy dies if it's just normal air-conditioned temperature. Why would he waste some of the money he so desperately needs for his research on building a heating system that he will never use?
To freeze. Stop them.
Villain crushes something in his hand to emphasize his determination cliché.
It's stage 1 of McGregor syndrome.
Oh no, cut down in the prime of his youth. Alfred can't just be dying of old age, he has to have some imaginary disease that Mr. Freeze's wife just happens to have. Thank God Mr. Freeze was working on a cure.
Only family can be trusted? Well, I'm family.
Family cannot be trusted.
Access denied. Access denied.
She also gets like unlimited attempts to guess the password. Why is the computerized voice saying the word access quickly and normally when it denies her, but once she guesses the super secure password correctly, it says the word access all sexual-like?
Access allowed.
The combined power of the telescope's reflecting crystals will complete my freezing engine. Yes.
Even Bane is having a hard time with the stupidity of what Mr. Freeze just said.
Friend, partner, brother. Will you trust me now?
Bruce turns the you don't trust me thing around on Robin successfully without ever having had to himself actually trust Robin.
All the crystals are in place.
Thank you.
Holy shit, this telescope really has crystals in it. All placed like a giant birth control pill case. I would love to know what kind of images they're going to get on this thing. If there are lots of this kind of diamond out there, why did the Gotham Museum of Art have one sitting in a glass case like it was anything special? He just thought of this plan to use the crystals in the telescope for his ice machine, and yet this diamond engine thing fits perfectly into the telescope equipment.
As such, I programmed my brain algorithms into the Bat computer.
What?
I'd like to help Batman and Robin.
I anticipated you would, and took the liberty to create something in your size.
When did Alfred have a change of heart about Barbara doing dangerous stuff? He didn't even want Dick to show her how to ride motorcycles when she arrived. Since when did he believe she was ready to fight crime? And that Batman and Robin would accept her onto the team? And how did he know her measurements so well? Also, why go through the charade of giving her a disc and telling her not to open it if you had already built the damn Batgirl suit? This movie is already over 2 hours long. We don't need that kind of unnecessary shit. I'm down with a female bat butt, for sure. But why is this the only bat suit without nipples? Sure, remove the rubber lips within kissing distance of Poison Ivy. Also, rubber lips. Sure, just push Robin in the moat while you're in kissing distance of a rubber lipless Robin. Did Superman just go around the world 100 times to reverse Robin back into this water? Why do the plants that have been obeying her the entire movie suddenly eat her just because she falls on them? Batgirl just told Robin about Freeze's plan to freeze the whole city, but somehow Batman had already conveniently come into the city on his bat ice skating boat and Robin on a jet ski. Wait, are they wearing specially designed ice-ready silver-trimmed bat suits? First of all, why? Second of all, when the hell did they change into those? Did they bring those with them earlier before they knew about Freeze's plan? Or waste time between taking out Ivy and taking out Freeze to go home and change clothes?
Sunlight could reverse the freezing process.
We'll sunrise them for 5 hours.
Here,
But it's morning in the Congo.
if we could relay the sunlight.
From the other side of the equator.
It'll take the satellites about a minute to realign, but
Yeah, but this is just an image of the sun, right? It's being sent by satellite with a signal that generates an image astronomers can see. Even if this ridiculous telescope actually works, you can't really beam the warmth of the sun through this telescope, can you? I mean, can you? She has special silver suit shit now too? So are we to believe that Alfred told her never to listen to the CD that would tell her about the Batcave, and he not only knew she'd do it and made a suit for her, but also made an ice version of that suit just in case? Wait, are you actually worried about gravity this time? I mean, in this movie it doesn't work, right? Sure, this is as good a time as any for Bane to randomly pop up just any old place. What has he been doing this whole time?
Hey, Freeze. The heat is on.
Batman says the heat is on and shoves a red gadget into Freeze's suit, suggesting it's some kind of heater or a bomb, but then he just kicks Freeze off the platform and the red gadget is never seen or heard from again.
Look, you can't tell me that the telescope itself and then the super ice machine was powered by the crystals and then have Freeze fall and crash the crystals,
But then still have the telescope work fine to relay the sunlight to thaw the city. Why didn't all these buildings crumble apart? I mean, in this movie, ice does weird things. It could destroy something completely, like the dinosaur at the beginning, or sometimes it requires something to be hit to be destroyed. This is incredibly convenient ice when it needs to be.
You've lost, Freeze.
Dude, you melted the ice off like 2 buildings. Why would you stop to say this?
The telescope's gone. There's no way to thaw the city.
Satellites could be positioned to thaw the city directly.
Oh, come on. I mean, suspension of disbelief got destroyed in the first 10 minutes of this movie. Now we're having to suspend insanity, too. I think I would have believed a giant hairdryer that warmed the whole city before I believed the sun could be channeled into satellite beams. Fortunately for all of Gotham City, the computer that controls satellites is the only thing that survived complete destruction of the observatory.
As I told Lady Freeze when I pulled her plug, this is a one-woman show.
Get the f*** out. You totally didn't record this. And definitely not at this angle. You were too busy cutting vines off with that convenient bat saw, remember? So f*** you, Batman. You. There was no motherfucking way you recorded this. I mean, f***. Why does Freeze carry around the cure for a stage of the disease his wife has already passed? Just in case he bumps into someone while stealing diamonds and freezing cities who happens to have the stage 1 of the super rare McGregor syndrome? Batman just gives a vial of random drugs from a supervillain to Alfred on the strength of the supervillain's word. They let Freeze keep his suit on in prison this time? And they put these two together without restraints, knowing full well she killed his wife and he knows it? Come on.
We're going to need a bigger cave.
No, you are not. That thing is fucking humongous. Why are they on the roof of the police station at the base of the bat signal running away from the signal? I mean, it's a cool enough looking shot, I guess, but it's one of the least logical things in this movie, and that's saying something.
I was hoping you'd drop in.
All too easy.
When I get through, you won't be able to get a job teaching high school chemistry.
Chemistry is the study of change. It is growth, then transformation.
The telescope will give future generations a chance to follow their own stars.
Brucey?
Speaking of your parents, were they alive? How do you think they'd feel? Proud or concerned that your attitude shows at best a pathological need for attention, at worst a psychotic death wish?